if you were in a nude restaurant and you were eating something especially hot, you'd have to kind of be careful in certain areas. I'm just saying, real careful. Sauce, something. All right, you get the point. I had to bring it up, but that's what we do. We're talk show hosts. We talk about things. I know I had to go there, but your imagination kind of sometimes can get the best of you, right? Mine does. As they say, a dirty mind is a terrible thing to waste. It's okay. You have a license. If you listen to For the People, you have a license to have a dirty mind occasionally. All right, it's Wednesday. I told you it's going to get a little wacky, okay? A little punchy on a Wednesday. Hope you don't mind it. Former Democratic National Committee Chairwoman Donna Brazile, we've been hearing a lot from her, and she was saying yesterday, which was very interesting, she wanted Hillary Clinton to win the presidency. As a good damn would, but her campaign, she says, became a cult that could not be penetrated. She says, I felt like it was a cult. Brazile, who is in the news for her bombshell book about the 2016 presidential election, she was telling MSNBC's Morning Joe program, you could not penetrate them. I'm a grassroots organizer. I know street politics better than I know sweet politics. I know how to touch people where they live, work, play, and pray. Former DNC chair, however, continued that she could not help a candidate when she could not spend the resources that the party is raising because there was a blind argument between Clinton and the DNC. The Clinton campaign made several mistakes, meanwhile, Brazile said, including not traveling to battleground states. Well, Bill Clinton told her that. But she said, oh, you old fool. That's what she was telling Bill. Bill said that she needed a visit, but she didn't listen. And if anybody is a political dynamo, Bill Clinton certainly knows politics and knows it well. But she didn't listen. And the battleground states are Michigan or like Wisconsin, but ultimately led to her loss. And she agreed that she was pretty arrogant about the campaign that was hard to break, though. And with the issues, however, Brazile disagreed with show co-anchor Mika, her opinion that things had been different. Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont would have been the Democratic nomination. She didn't believe that. In her book, though, The Inside Story of the Break-ins and Breakdowns that put Donald Trump in the White House, Brazile wrote that she had discovered the document that claimed had been signed for months before Clinton announced her presidential campaign and gave the Clinton campaign financial controls of the National Democratic Party and eventually leaving little to support Democrats in down-ballot races. Where her words, these were her words, and at first was construed to sound as if Brazile was accusing Clinton of rigging the election against Sanders. And she insisted that she did not mean that the race was rigged, but there was a cancer inside the DNC. Yeah, some of her discussions have just been wishy-washy, if you will. But the bottom line is, I don't think there's any new revelations per se or bombshell revelations in the book. What this does, in my opinion, from just reading everything that I've been able to get my hands on, is this further validates what is already pretty much known about the DNC and Hillary Clinton and the mishandling of money and just the deceitfulness that goes on. She is definitely one of the most deceitful people on the planet, Hillary Rotten Clinton, and her husband, both of them. I mean, both of them. This is the way that they fought. This is the way that they had won. And it's about time that in our rear view mirrors that we find it. But she called it, interesting enough, a cancer about the memorandum over allowing Clinton's campaign to take over certain departments in exchange for bailing us out. It really hurt and tarnished the Democratic Party big time. As much as people say, the Republicans need a revamp or reboot, they got issues because there's strife and there's infighting. Trust me when I tell you, there's nobody really of sound leadership at this time that I see that is making the DNC the party of choice for anybody looking perhaps at jumping ship into something else that you believe. Just DNC really has a lot to think about. In even the Virginia, the New York win, it doesn't matter. And by the way, New York and Virginia, for anybody that's just upset about the gubernatorial races, who cares? They didn't vote for Trump. It doesn't matter. Trump getting an exchange of words back and forth. Whatever. It's all good. Not everybody's going to be voting red. And it gives them some possible leverage later on. I don't know what leverage it'll be. It's just another city to screw up, in my opinion. That's what happens when these libs get power. They screw everything up. The cities become saturated with degenerates that live amongst us, that are sanctuary cities. They allow these safe rooms for these snowflakes. It's just kumbaya, but falsified. It doesn't work. In theory, it sounds great. It's a lot of hot air, and there's no sound direction when it comes to the Democratic Party. JFK, if they were able to exhume his body, resurrect him, believe me when I tell you, he would not be jumping on board to be with the Democrats. He would be embarrassed that that's the direction that they went. He was definitely much more of a conservative, and I'm certain that he would like many of the things that Trump is doing at this point. Because think about where he was, what he was doing with the country. He was making America great. We were reaching for the stars. We went to the moon. I mean, these things moved us to the space age. This is the kind of stuff that we need to resurrect our country for the betterment of all its citizens. And if only, I think to myself, if only somebody could wake up that's a liberal. And some have woke up and seen the light and realized and have even articulated the fact, my goodness, not on the Senate floor or anything like that, but that Donald Trump actually is doing some good for the economy. You can't fault the numbers. The unemployment rate's down. You can't. A lot of liberals will say, "Oh, that was all the effort of 8 years with Barack Obama, and we're still on Barack Obama time." No, we're not. It has nothing to do with it. It's taking America back to work, literally, allowing companies to operate without all these restrictions that all the bureaucrats in Washington have been putting all this red tape on it, loosening a lot of those restrictions in companies, environmental crap, but not just taking the environmental aspects like not protecting our air quality. We still have an EPA. I love the liberals, how they'll just use that. It's just things that are so unnecessary. And these are the particular things like Obamacare. And gosh, if we could only get some wins. I mean, that's the thing. If we could only get some wins legislatively, this tax deal, I am praying that there's something, the death tax, the estate tax, there's some things in there that the Democrats love. I hope that there's some kind of meeting of the minds, some magic alignment of the stars, that we can start getting some traction because, this is holding us back in some real ways too. And this hurts Mr. and Mrs. America. You're talking about money. You're talking about people's health. These were big, hot button issues. And I would just hate to think that, here it is. We go another, year and there's nothing happening on these fronts. Paul Ryan's resolved. A lot of people believe that something good's going to come out of this. I hope that there is enough in there that Dems can feel good about voting for this tax break. Now, this is a kind of a grim story from Stephen Hawking. Lately, he's not been very bullish on planet Earth, but you don't have to worry. anytime soon, because in 2600, Stephen Hawking is saying that there's a ball of fire that's going to be Earth's fate, and that humans should leave for the neighboring star system to avoid its hellish fate. He's put a date on it. The renowned physicist made his comments while speaking on the TenCast WE Summit in Beijing via video link this past Sunday, blaming humans for Earth's eventual demise. And the London Daily Mail reported, Hawkins said, a spike in pollution and its demand for energy will end the human race on Earth. 2600. And here is it's 2017, going in 2018. Wow. Okay. Not very optimistic that human beings can't figure out alternative energy. Human beings won't be able to jump to another star. Won't be able to vitamin C our atmosphere. Come on, have a little faith. Let's look what we did in just 200 years. Give me a break. There's still much time, much that can be done. I have wondered about that, seeding the atmosphere with other chemicals, kind of like a vitamin. I don't know if that would work. I'd have to ask somebody from NASA. I'm sure if I did a query on that, I mean, these are the silly things that I think. Could we see the atmosphere? I'm sure somebody's asked that question before. Is it possible, or is it a whole lot more complicated than that? That would be neat. Maybe someday in the future there's something like that. But the Sun reported that Hawking is supporting a venture called, this is very interesting, Breakthrough Starshot to reach the solar system. He said a tiny aircraft could travel, this is his opinion, this is the physicist talking, the speed of light and reach another solar system within 20 years. And the idea behind this innovation is to have the nanocraft on the light beam, Hawkins said, per the Sun. Such a system could reach Mars in less than an hour, or reach Pluto in days, pass Voyager in under a week, and reach Alpha Centauri in just over 20 years. Hawkins said if the venture is successful, it would allow a generation to examine each star. A Breakthrough Starshot, that's the name of it. Breakthrough Starshot is an opportunity for man to make early forays into outer space with a view to probing and weighing the possibilities of colonization. Pete Worden, executive director of the Breakthrough Starshot program and former director of NASA Ames Research Center, was telling the summit that China will be approached to play a major role in the nanocraft's development. China is certainly a major player in promoting such a program, Worden told the audience per the China Daily. We're looking forward to working closely with Chinese experts and institutes. Very interesting. 2600 is what he said. Ball of flames. Ball of flames. Very interesting factoid about the whole human being aspects of this. It is, humans obviously consume products, beef, chicken, pork, animal products, but the methane that comes out of this stuff actually is more damaging than anything. From pig farms alone in North Carolina, that stuff's burning a serious hole. And it's because of the demands. People want their pork. People want their beef. And because of the population, we are definitely exhausting. And I'd have to agree. We do have a bunch of people on this planet, that's for sure. Yeah, maybe we can cut down on that. But then what happens when we overly farm the soil from all the vegan stuff? Right? Because they say you can only grow something for so long, and then you have to turn it up and deplete the nutrients in the soil and all that. I'm not a botanist, but there is something to that as well. And maybe there's scientists that have figured out how they can regenerate all that other stuff. There's smarter people on the payroll than I that know about that. And if you are one of those, you can just weigh in on my Facebook page at For the People Show, or go to our website at forthepeopleshow.com and weigh in. Let me know. We learn from our listeners worldwide. We have people from all over the world that actually write in on our website. By the way, I got to tell you something. I am so amazed at how many hits we're getting on our website. We direct people, by the way,